Welcome back, Wogglers. So today we're going to be talking about importing. So you may have had some sort of event where you met a lot of people. It was a great time, but you don't want to create each one of those leads individually. You just have an Excel spreadsheet that everybody signed in on, and it was a great time. You just want to plop all those leads in here really quickly. So it's actually a pretty easy way to import. You can mass import. So for our example, we're going to do the leads module here. And so right next to create lead, you have this drop down more arrow. You can click that, and then you can import leads. And so what you're going to do here is you're going to upload your file. Now, if you were worried about what the column name should be called and this, that, and the other, and all that kind of jazz, you can download a sample file that will give you all of the fields that you've got in your CRM, and then you can fill them out on that file. I wouldn't worry too much about it because, as you're going to see in the next page, we're going to have the opportunity to, let's see, where's my lead list? There it is. We're going to have the opportunity to map the different columns from my lead list file to the appropriate fields that we want that information to go into in the leads module. All right, so as you saw, you just click upload and then you pick your file. Mine was on the desktop, grabbed it, easy peasy, click next. So in this screen, you have the option to add everybody on that list as a new lead. We can update existing leads, or we could do both. For us, we're gonna just choose the add as new leads because we had that event and we know none of those people were in our system yet. If you were to update existing leads or do both, you could choose to deduplicate or match existing leads based off of the lead ID if you have it, or an email address. The reason you have those two choices to deduplicate is because those two fields in your CRM on the lead record are unique fields. They're unique identifiers is what they're called. So we happen to know that none of these people exist, so we're not going to deduplicate at all. All right, and we'll hit next. And so here's what I was telling you about in terms of being able to map the columns that you have in your file to the fields in the CRM. So the fields in file, which are the column header names, and then we have the fields in Zoho CRM. You're just going to match them up. So for example, we've got who we want to own the lead. Right now, the way that it matches up the owners or the users in your system with whoever you've got in your file is through the user ID specifically or the user's email. In our file, we didn't have user or email, so that's probably not going to get mapped. That's fine. We don't care so much. We're loosey-goosey at this company. All right, and then we've got your company field and then company in the CRM. It auto-mapped a lot of these, which is totally fine, but if you decided that you wanted the lead source to be something different than lead source, you wanted it to be, let's see, maybe you wanted it to be source. You wanted it to go there too. This is saying that I already had this mapped further down in my mapping, and that's fine. I'm just going to override it. One of the other cool things that we have as well is, so if I have one column in my file and I want that information to go to two different places in the CRM, I can add another field to this mapping, and then I can add lead source. Although this one is a pick list and a multi-select field, and so you can't map a pick list and a multi-select field to more than one thing. That's fine. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty much it. You would just go down the number of columns in your file and match them up to the appropriate fields in the CRM. If, for example, you wanted to assign a default value, so we had a specific event. It was the event in May of 2025. It's the only event that we ran in May 2025, and I want that to be mapped to all of these records that are created. You can set that as a default value. So we'll say the lead source, and we'll say this one is a trade show, because that was the trade show that we went to and we got all these leads from. So you don't have to have that piece of information as a column specifically in your upload file, because it's going to be the same for everybody in your upload file. All right, there we go. So what this does is it will show you what's mapped. We've got 33 mapped. We've got 2 that are unmapped. And if I click those, I'll be able to see what they were. And we assigned a default value. We also have the ability is if you got a new piece of information that you were able to capture in your file, but it doesn't actually have a field in the CRM yet, you do have the ability to create new fields to capture that information during this upload process. We don't have that in ours, so we're just going to click next. All right, and then it's going to tell you that you have 2 fields that are not mapped. That's fine. Maybe we don't want to map that information. Click continue. And here you have the option to trigger assignment rules if you've set up any assignment rules for your leads, trigger automations and process management. So if you've done any workflows around lead creation or new and updated records, you can trigger those through this upload as well. And you can also create follow-up tasks. So you can set an already existing one, so maybe it's follow-up. You can assign that to the new record owners. So there you go. A couple of things down here at the bottom is you can enable manual lead approval. So if an error happens, we can manually approve those leads. And also we can confirm that the email addresses in this import will be used with their consent. So basically this is trying, as you can see, they've got a link to Zoho's anti-spam policy. They're trying to kind of crack down on getting illegal lists of emails. So I confirm that that definitely happened. Let's see. And I'll click finish. Although it's, there we go. My little floating meeting control was in the way. There we go, I confirm. All right, so now we've got this little pop-up. The lead import has been scheduled, and it'll go away after a couple of seconds. And what will happen is, as we're waiting, a little pop-up will appear down here that says that the lead import has been completed. Hey, look, there's our pop-up. The lead import has been completed, and we can click on it here to see the status. What's great about this is it gives you the status of any records that were added or updated. It also gives you skipped records. So if there's bad information or you didn't have the information in the file that's a required field in the CRM, those would come as skipped records, and you'd be able to download skipped records of just the ones that were skipped. So you wouldn't have to comb through if you've got hundreds of rows in your original import. You can just download the skipped records. It will tell you which row on your original import file it was, what the error was. So it's really easy to kind of troubleshoot from there, and also helps with that bad data. I'm not getting bad data in there. All right, well, that's it for importing from the front end. I'll see you in the next one, and we'll import a larger file from the back end. Woggle woggle.